There is so much that goes into testing, and there's a lot of videos on testing. I've talked about it in a couple of my other videos, and many of the experienced candle makers have many videos that I highly encourage you to watch about testing. And no matter how much you think you know, you will find out that there's always something to learn, and you're gonna have a light bulb moment like I did. Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Lisa with Candles by Sincerely Ice Blue, and on this channel we talk about everything from candle making to opening a small business, everything in between, including some of the hard lessons that I'm learning as I go, which is what we're going to talk about today. If you are new here, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, become part of the channel. I would absolutely love to have you. Don't forget to also click on that little bell, get notified as new videos post. I do try and post twice a week. Sometimes I can only do one, especially if I'm traveling, but I am trying for 2 a week. So, as I wrapped up my last video, I talked about that this video was going to kind of talk about an eye-opener I came into in regards to testing. And it's a mistake that I can't say I'm very proud of, because in my brain, I kind of think to myself, why didn't I know that? Why did I do that so wrong? And I think what happens is you just get so excited. You get excited to make candles and start a business, and you get your shop all set up, and you order everything from wax to fragrances to vessel shopping and getting things in and smelling them and being excited to open and see your new jars and all the packaging materials and creating business cards and names for your candles to go with the fragrances you decide to start with. And that's all the fun stuff. And sometimes it's really hard not to get caught up in the fun stuff and get into the things that are going to help you create those beautiful, wonderful candles that are going to keep your customers coming back. So if you're just getting started in the business of making candles, again, watch as many videos as you can before you start the journey doing this. Another thing I'm going to suggest to you before I talk to you about what I did wrong is most of the candle manufacturers or suppliers you can go to their website and you can buy a kit. And the kit will come to you with a jar. Sometimes they don't have a jar, but most of them have like a jar and a pouring pitcher and a thermometer and a spoon and exactly how much fragrance you need to pour in, the exact amount of wax you need to melt, and perfect instructions and the most appropriate wick. That's probably something I should have done when I started out. That is not the biggest mistake I made, although it is one of them. But I'm going to suggest to you that you start out with a kit. And you can do that, like I said, through Candle Science, California Candle Supply, Lone Star Candle Supply, the Flaming Candle, or most of the other candle manufacturers out there. You can also buy kits directly off of Etsy. And there are a lot of experienced candle makers that you're going to find their YouTubes, and then you're going to learn that they have a store or kits that you can buy. I highly suggest you start out that way if you're new. If you're not new, you might be like me and you already have the ever-growing pile of fails or test runs or research and development, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure you have it. And I have a couple of videos. I have part 1 and part 2 posted already, part 3 coming soon, that talks to you about how you can repurpose some of that, because it is expensive. It's a lot of money. Testing is a lot of money. And I really wish I would have started out with that kit, because you can watch a lot of videos and you're going to think, I will just use the same wax they're using. And I know that my jar diameter is 3 1/8. So I'm going to take out the sheet that I got from the Flaming Candle or one of the other vendors, and it's going to tell you that for this diameter, use this wick, and this wick is good in paraffin or parasoy or soy or all the above. And you're going to look at your fragrance oils. And the fragrance oils will also tell you if it works in paraffin, parasoy, and or soy. Make sure that whatever wax you choose, you are using a compatible fragrance oil. I've not run into that. All the fragrance oils I have chosen are compatible with both paraffin and soy, so I've been good there. I did not make that mistake. Yay me. But what I did, one of the other things I did, not the biggest one yet, I'll say it's the second biggest one, is I just used that chart to gauge what I thought would work in my vessel. And it would say, for 3 1/8, there's 4 or 5 wicks that'll work. But there's 4 or 5 wicks that are going to work in 5 different wick types. I could use a CD wick. I could use a Premier wick. I could use a CDN wick. I could use an Eco wick. I could use a zinc wick, a cotton wick, a wood wick, what kind of whatever. There's a lot to choose from. So if I had gotten the kit, I'd have probably had a better idea of where to go or what to start with. So what was my biggest thing? And I'm going to tell you, I had an aha moment this week because my husband is starting an Etsy business too, and he's doing it with Cricut that I bought for myself that he has taken custody of, but he's loving it and enjoying it. And he made me this fabulous shirt, so I now have my own candle making shirt, which makes me very happy. But I was getting frustrated. I was sitting at the kitchen table almost in tears because, I've been doing this for a couple months. I've managed to figure out 2, and I wish that they performed a little bit better. I think I wish they had a better hot throw. I'm not 100% happy with them. So I've done a soft product launch, and I had this aha moment where first it started out with frustration. And I was sitting there crying, and he's hugging me and telling me this is why we test, and sometimes you have to work on candles for 6 months to a year before you develop what it is you're trying to develop. And I don't want to do that. I just want it to be done now. I want instant gratification. I want to just figure it out. And I haven't. So I came in my office and I took this whole stack of tests that I had been doing, and I had them grouped together by scent. And so I took it apart and I resorted it all by vessel, by the type of vessel that I'm using. And then I started taking notes on them and kind of comparing what I've done, what I need to do. And in my mind, I have tried everything. Well, that's where the aha moment comes in. I realized I was not trying everything. As a matter of fact, I was doing a whole lot less than everything than I even thought. And man, that was an eye-opening moment and quite humbling. And not only was it an aha, it was it was one of those moments. So I didn't even realize it as I was going through them. Don't mind, I have to look at these notes so I can tell you everything I did here. I took each of my vessels. I made notes as to what wicks I tried in which wax, because I'm working both with a soy and a parasoy. And I was getting frustrated because I'm thinking, well, I tried both and I tried 5 wicks. Why didn't it work? Well, one thing that I did notice I did across the board was a 10% hot throw. And I should know better because based on all of the research I'd done, and I have pages of these notes saying that when you're starting out, especially a lot of fragrances, especially the stronger ones, you can do a 6% fragrance load and it comes out stronger than if you put 10% in. Another thing I noticed is my heat and pour and add fragrance levels were all over the place. They were all over the place. I was not consistent. So if I changed the wick, I really wasn't paying attention to that pour temperature or to the heat temperature. There was a batch that I heated over 200, and there were batches that I poured too hot. It's just a mess what I was doing. And the biggest thing is I only had about 5 wicks, maybe 6. And I had chosen from Premier and CD wicks, figuring from what I've read and learned about them, those were the best. I should use those. That shouldn't be a problem. I'll get this right away. No, I did not. No. I ended up having to swallow my pride, and I will highly recommend this to you as well. If you are struggling, or if you're just starting out and you're having a hard time sorting through all this, do not just guess it like I did, because you're going to end up as frustrated as I did. Maybe not, you might get lucky. But had I contacted customer service for both of the waxes I am using, told them my jars and my diameters and my ounces and what wicks I tried, and that even if I got a good burn, I had little to zero hot throw. And when I say 0 hot throw, I mean 0 hot throw. But yet these candles sitting in my office right here, they have the most spectacular cold throw. I kid you not. I poured some batches of coffee in these Cricut mugs that we're using, and my husband is putting nice logos and everything on them for me. And when I tell you it had an amazing cold throw, it really did. They sat in my living room, they sat in my office, and all you could smell from if I left the house and came back, if I took the dogs out and came in, all I could smell was coffee. So the cold throw was there, but then I lit them. Oh, bad. It burned too hot. It tunneled. And we even had one that I think we had the fragrance at 10%, but then we added too much color. And those wicks burned so hot, the whole inside of the mug turned carbony. It was just black. So that was horrible. What else did I figure out? I figured out that I really need to go down to 6% or 8% fragrance load and follow the manufacturer's instructions. And I did talk to both of the waxes I use about what I really should be heating it to. And I was surprised that it wasn't necessarily what I read on the websites. And I don't know if it's because of the vessels I was using, but they specifically told me, heat it to this, add your fragrance at this, stir it for this amount of time, pour it at this, and for that vessel size, we want you to try this, this, or this wick. Which none of them, by the way, were ones I had tried. So no wonder here I am sitting being frustrated. Very humbling. Very humbling. Okay, so what else did I learn? I also learned that a Parasoy blend does not totally work like a soy. In my brain, it's Parasoy. And based on the wicks and some of the things I've been reading, they should be fine. They should work fine. No, it was totally different. The two manufacturers completely recommended different things in different ways to deal with their product line. So, all of the other little gadgets and gizmos and the beautiful jars and everything I have behind me really ended up not mattering, because when it was all said and done, I thought, I'm testing. I've made 30 candles and I've rewicked a whole bunch of them. Why is it not working? It's got to be me. I'm doing something wrong. Well, yeah, I was doing something wrong. I was either changing too many things at once. I had zero consistency with my heat and pour temperatures. The only things that were consistent were the jars and the rooms I cured them in, and I cured them for 2 weeks. That was pretty much it. Everything else I was all over the board with. And until I sat down and I looked at all of this paperwork and read it and studied it and analyzed it, did I realize I had not realized how off target I was. So, in my last video, I made a video of using the Freedom Wax from American Soy Organics, and we changed everything, not everything. We used all 5 of the vessels that we're using. I used each that manufacturer, the American Soy team, recommended for each vessel 2 different wicks to try. So I picked one, and that wick went in the vessel. And 4 of the 5 of them use the exact same wick, and the other one is smaller diameter, so it was a different wick. So we did them exactly the same. We heated them to 185. We added the fragrance and stirred for 2 to 3 minutes. And then something that I found to be interesting was that they recommend letting it cool. And when I mean cool, I mean under 100 degrees. They recommended cooling my wax until it just started to show signs of fogginess, like it was going to start setting. And it took a while to cool down, even after taking it off the water and taking it off the heat and leaving it sit on the stove. It took probably 15 to 20 minutes to get cool enough. And then we put it in the pouring pitcher, and then we immediately poured them. And we did them wickless. So if the wick doesn't work out of the 2 that they recommended, I can simply just take it out and then put the other one in. So I do have a video about doing the wickless if you want to check it out. I will try and drop it somewhere for you. But that's it. That's what I have for you. That is my big mistake. And the main reason I'm doing this is to hopefully stop somebody else from doing what I did. Hopefully somebody will learn from my mistakes, but also because part of me making these videos is to record my journey getting started in this business. And, you know, they say that you can look back at it someday and laugh. I guess I'm kind of laughing at myself about it now because, man, why did it take me so long to analyze my information in my notes? What good is taking all these notes on every candle if you're not going to actually review them? I don't know. Oh, the other thing I am going to tell you is, I'm going to say mistake 3.1 is I did not note on each of these what the cost of my testing was. So it is super important for you to make sure you know the cost of your candle and make sure that you include your time. So I just thought about the time part this week from Stanley Handcrafted. Thank you, Stanley Handcrafted. That when I've got a spreadsheet, I'm tracking how much everything costs. It did not occur to me that I needed to track my losses. So the candles I'm giving away, the candles I'm having friends and family test, the ones I'm throwing away, all of it. You have to track that as part of your business expenses. Now, I have to go back and recalculate all that, and I do know what I've done and how much I've done because I have all my testing sheets. But in my brain, for some reason, I guess I just thought you don't need to price your candles until you're selling them. Wrong. You have to know the price of what you're wasting or giving away to. So make sure that you know the cost of your testing materials and your test candles on top of doing it right. So that's what I have for you today. That is it. I'm done for the day. You don't have to listen to me anymore today. Unless you want to, you can watch the other videos. And you know I'm rambling because I'm kind of embarrassed that I messed this all up this way. So, lesson learned. Anyway, Thanks for hanging in there. If you're laughing at me, it's okay. Laugh along with me. Drop in the comments. I will answer all my comments. Follow me on Instagram. If you have anything you want me to talk about in the future, let me know. I definitely will make sure to make a video for you. At the very least, I'll get back to you directly. Follow along with us. Join our community by clicking on the subscribe button and the little bell to be notified when I post videos like this. Hopefully not so many of these, but that's it. So as I always say, live your life out loud. Just do it with a little bit more wisdom this week. Take care. I'll see you next time.